Hello and what is up guys, and welcome back to another video from Screencasters. And today I'm going to be doing a BLS Chaos Max deck profile on the channel. This deck is the perfect combination of one of Yugi's most iconic boss monsters, as well as one of Kaiba's most deadly boss monsters, which is Blue Eyes Chaos Max. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into some duels so you guys can see this deck in action. So this first duel is going to be against Odd Eyes Magicians with OCG support. He seems to have bricked a little bit, so he had to do an Odd Eyes search at the end phase. But the good thing about it is he left a monster in defense mode, which is kind of what you want if you're playing Chaos Max, because double piercing. So I attack for insane amounts of damage, and he just barely survives. Now, the interesting thing is he's actually going to do the damage back to me a lot worse, and you'll see that in a second. But one thing I do want to point out is I am planning on doing a Odd Eyes deck profile update with the new OCG card, so that's something. So he goes into Ignister, and Ignister is a huge problem because it's one of the few cards in the game that actually affects our Chaos Max. So he shovels it back into the deck, and he makes a slight misplay by popping his own card, but he does Odd Eyes for double, battle damage, and almost OTKs me, just slightly. A little bit more damage than that would have been gained, but naturally I top deck like a boss. I use Manju to search back that Chaos Max, and ARA comes in clutch and attack for game. This next duel is going to be against Super Heavy Samurais. Now, this is where I show the BLS side of the deck. So I search out my field spell, which is super integral. The counters get you to search your ritual spells, which is actually pretty hard in this deck. The monsters are easy to get with Melody and stuff, but because of Origin, I can use BLS's hand loop effect, making my opponent have a lot of less options to work with. But he's mating Kaijus, and yeah, he kind of gets over my BLS and he doesn't float if he gets Kaiju'd. But the best thing about it is since his monsters are in defense mode, Chaos Max can do a lot more damage to them. So the cool thing is I can use my field spell to search out my ritual spell, and then Manju can search out the monsters. So I use ARA to dump a Blue Eyes, go into Chaos Max, and attack for absurd amounts of damage. Now this is pretty fun and interesting. So he has the Kaiju Slumber in his hand as well as a Kaiju, but the thing is, he can't have two Kaijus on the field at the same time, so he rams his monster into my Manju, because it has a grave effect or something, so then he activates Interrupted Slumber. I don't know why he didn't Kaiju first and then do it, but he does it and gives me the sticky stream, which is fine. So what I do is normal summon my Envoy after I get my search, and I want him in the graveyard so I can banish my Chibis in the worst case scenario, but I'm also trying to bait out his Graveyard Samurai, but he didn't chain it for some reason, and I won like that. So yeah, those are some duels showcasing how the deck works. Now let's get on to the deck profile. So those were some duels showcasing how the deck is supposed to work. Now if you don't know what a specific card is, just comment down below in the comment section what two cards it's between, and I'll answer you guys there. But some notable things I want to point out is I am running only one Blue Eyes alternative dragon. Now the reason for this is because he's super searchable with your Melody, and you could get him back from the graveyard with your White Stone of the Ancients. So even if you use alternative and he's in your graveyard, you can just banish your White Stone and get him back to your hand, which is pretty damn good. Also, in regards to White Stone, he has a lot of synergy with your Super Soldier Origin. I'm also running the Dark Gaia, Gaia the Arisen, instead of like the Galloping Gaia because of White Stone of the Ancients, because Dark Gaia, or I'll just call him that for now on, Gaia the Arisen, he's a dark. Now, in order to use Origin, you need to send a monster that totals up to 8, but being a different attribute. Now, what does that mean? I need to send a light level 1 monster from my deck to the graveyard or from my hand to the graveyard to activate it. And one of the best targets is going to be White Stone of the Ancients. So one of your best plays is activating Trade-In to send your Super Soldier to the graveyard, and then activating your Origin by having your Arisen in the hand, or a White Stone of Ancients in your hand. It doesn't really matter which one. And then you summon your Super Soldier from the graveyard, and it sets up your graveyard with White Stone of the Ancient, so you can summon a Blue Eyes during your end phase. And of course, there's a classic play of having a Chibi in your hand and just dumping whatever other one you have in your deck to the graveyard to give your Super Soldier two super good effects, which one of them being the hand loop and the other one just doing, attacking twice. Also, if you use both Chibis, it gets to banish 2 monsters, so BLS becomes a super beast. You can banish 2 monsters on the field and rip a card from your opponent's hand, which help establish an OTK with your Chaos Max. We're also only running 2 of the Chaos Max because he's easily searchable with your Melody, as well as from your Manju Summon effect and from your Twilight Knight's Banish effect. You only need 2 beginning. I mean, it's a hard once per turn, so drawing multiples is pretty bad, but it does set up your graveyard, and it doesn't really matter if you pick your BLS Super Soldier, because you can summon him from the graveyard really easily with your Origin. Another way this deck comes together is your Chaos form. You could use this to summon both your Chaos Max and your Super Soldier, either or. So that's really damn good. So in a perfect world, if you got a Super Soldier, Chaos Max, ARA, and a Chaos form in your hand, you can activate your Advanced Ritual Art, send a Blue Eyes from your deck to the graveyard to summon your Chaos Max. Then you could banish that Blue Eyes from your graveyard with Chaos form to summon your Super Soldier as well. It is super common to have both a Chaos Max and a Super Soldier on the field at the same time and done in the same turn, which is super amazing. And of course, your field spell is one of the best cards in the deck. It immediately searches out your ritual monster, which is BLS, and the fact that it gets counters so you can search the ritual spell, which is pretty damn good, kind of like a pseudo floodgate. Because as you're discarding monsters with your trade-in, and as you're blowing up monsters with BLS and Chaos Max and stuff, you're getting counters, and those counters help get you to more of your playmakers. And of course, you can loop your Envoy of Chaos with your Chibi Knights to reset some of your advantage, because if you banish them, one of them searches a ritual monster and the other one searches a ritual spell, so you can see where this goes. A lot of that comes from your Universal Beginning plays, as well as your Super Soldier Origin plays. As for the extra deck, it doesn't really matter what you put in it. You hardly ever go into it, but you do have the option to go into Spirit Dragon if you like hard draw one of your Ancients and you got ult on the field or something, which is pretty good. But for the most part, you're never really going to be going into any of these cards, but they're nice to have. As for the side deck, they're just cards I was considering for putting in the main deck, but I haven't really got around to it. So yeah, that is my BLS Chaos Max deck profile, guys. I hope you all enjoyed this video. It's super fun. Hope you guys enjoyed the duels as well. So yeah, if you liked this video, you liked this deck profile, you liked any of those duels, just leave a like and a comment down below. I greatly appreciate it. It really helps with the new YouTube algorithm. And if you guys want to see even more BLS action, I have done some duels with an earlier version of BLS. It's more of a pure build. So if you guys want to see it, check the description box down below. There'll be a link there, or you can click the card on the top right side of your screen. So yeah, if you guys like this video, don't forget to like the video, comment the video, and subscribe to my channel, which is Screencasters, for more epic and amazing videos similar to this one.